Thanks very much for introducing me. In addition to being head of regulatory affairs of Airport di Roma, I proud myself being a board member of ADR Assistance, our dedicated PRM service company that I'm here today to talk about. So good day, everybody. I'm here in Rome, and I thank you for having me here with you today. I thank you for the opportunity to tell you a short story of a dedicated PRM company that is operating at the Rome airport since the onset of the PRM regulation. At the Rome airports, we have earned a small but good reputation for our everyday service. Today, I want to tell you a few things about ADR assistance. So let me start by stressing mine and our beliefs here at ADR assistance. Houses, over time, houses built without solid foundations are meant to decay or even fall apart. And when that happens, the most vulnerable are harmed the most. We all know that. Out of this metaphor, clarity of processes and procedures and the fair balance between service cost and user charges are the foundations of all services, as we all know. And in this case, specifically, are important prerequisites for our PRM to be able to access to air travel services in full, as we all want. Since 2008 here at ADR Assistance and ADR, we are trying to make this possible at our two Rome airports. And that means to us embracing the challenge that we are all aware requires significant resources and exposes us and our parent company ADR to an awful lot of risks of disappointing while we are trying to get where we want. Our key assets. Number one, obviously, are good, experienced, enthusiastic people. They exude enthusiasm and will to do better every day. Number two, our airports, especially the large one, the large size Fiumicino airport. That allows us to confront with the PRM service challenge on a large scale. Let me tell you, not one for the faint of heart. If we flip to page 2, I thank you very much for this assistance. We show you just a couple of things about figures and people. Set up in 2008, in pre-COVID period, ADR Assistant could boast 22 million of revenues, but most importantly, provide job to 380 people, assisting 380,000 reduced mobility clients in a year. If we flip over to the coming pages, before we dig a bit deeper in our concept, let me be slightly self-celebrating. At page 3 and 4, I have a couple of things to stress. First of all, my personal key area of interest, service regulated charges. They have been essentially flat in real terms in the last 10 years, as you can see in the bottom part of the page. And then a couple of achievements. Pre-COVID labor productivity has slightly risen, yes, slightly, while that was happening, PRM inflows at Rome have intensified. So obviously it was a tough achievement to bring about some improvements. And in the following page, pre-COVID, unit labor cost has been kept flat, while PRM key quality indicators, as you can see in the chart, have consistently improved. If we flip to the following page, I wanted to share with you 3 magic buzzwords that we already mentioned: processes, procedures, and cost revenue balance. In this little chart, I wanted to transpose those 3 into the 4 areas of actions of ADR assistance you see in the picture. Areas 1 and 2, top part of the page. That to me means leveraging on our people to enhance their contribution to better service now and better thinking, better infrastructure planning with our parent company ADR, of course, for an even better service in the future. Area 3 and 4, bottom part of the page. That to me means leveraging on a clear set of rules, both internal and external, to keep a tight balance between cost and revenue in a transparent relation with our users. If we go to the next page, well, just to highlight what was our start and how we moved on from there. We started from scratch at the start of the last decade and made our way through a challenging regulatory environment in Italy at that time. Consequent to that uncertain regulatory environment, at the time we had a rather troubled financial situation in our parent company. That, of course, didn't help. So a natural start was to have a good contract with our single buyer of the PRM services, our parent company. And in our view, to be good for all, that contract had to cater for clear rules to make service fees of ADR assistance linked to service costs, a reward mechanism in ADR assistance aimed at delivering measurable quality according to performance indicators, specifically to PRM, and a program to make our people grow in the wider possible way, grow on interaction with our reduced mobility clients, interaction with airlines, and interaction with other parts of ADR relevant for our service and for our future. We said better service. So flipping the page, again, let me stress some achievements on quality and productivity, reminding you that through the last 10 years, we raised the user charge of the service only fractionally, practically zero in real terms. If you see page 7 and page 8, what we display are the key indicators that you all know about. So departure, time of departures with and without reservation, time of arrival, time of service at arrival with and without reservation. And those indicators show constant improvements and better levels than our targets that we set for ourselves in the economic regulation agreement with our regulator and in the service charter with our users. So let me then end up my presentation with my own theme, that is regulation, economic regulation of all the aviation services in Rome, with a specific attention, of course, to PRM. At page 11. Yes. The PRM setting price that we present every year to users is based exclusively on ADR assistance annual report. So we leverage off the annual report of the service company to share to our users, with our users, an annual charge, charge update that is predicated exclusively on the cost of ADR assistance, with no consideration whatsoever for allocation of our parent company general and administrative costs. Moreover, yearly surpluses or deficits are fully sterilized in the following year tariff. So ADR applies a PRM regulation to make sure that no overcompensation is ever included in the tariff formula. On top of that, of course, we try to engage with our users on a constant basis. On price regulation, we meet at least twice a year, more frequently on quality monitoring, and every aviation season, we interview carriers to monitor satisfaction in general, but a chunk of that interview process has to do with ADR assistance quality indicators. Users' engagement is obviously a vital part of our value set. And users' engagement turns to a key asset, especially now that extraordinary conditions caused by the pandemic crisis do not allow for a speedy recovery of the deficits we have recorded in 2020 and we are recording in 2021. Our economic regulator has kindly opened to the option that those deficits can become cost to spread over a longer period of time. But now we need our users to sympathize with our challenges and stand by our side. We can go to the last couple of pages. At page 12, don't worry, I won't push you too deep into this scheme unless you really want to, and I'll be delighted to answer your question in that case. On this particular page, again, my particular area of interest may suffice to say that yes, we do need to have service costs fully reflected in our PRM service charge so that ADR, our parent company, can pay us ADR assistance, but we track our previous year's accounts with our users to make them appreciate that we do all that is possible to do to avoid the risk of overcompensation. If we go to the last couple of pages, while this happens, ADR makes sure that along the same lines, to avoid overcompensation, ADR system does not get a reward above its true costs. And such a status quo, let me call it that way, is monitored through each year for swings in volume relative to forecast. Now, we've come to the story's end now, and at page 14, I hope you share my same view. This is a good story of a small company that confronts itself with a huge challenge and rests on its feet while doing it. This is already quite an achievement, especially through COVID times. As you can see in this last chart, where we show you that our company has remained fully self-financed since inception, and still so through COVID difficult times. While we look forward to an okay volume recovery shortly, I personally hope to be back here next time to share with you some more of our enthusiasm and projects to better serve our clients.
Thank you very much, Fabio. This has been a great presentation. I think it's very positive that airports and large airports like Airporti di Roma, Fiumicino and Ciampino have the transparency of sharing this in-depth analysis of how they manage this core product of theirs, because as you pointed out, assistance is something fundamental in the culture of Airporti di Roma. Ensuring equality and inclusion in air travel is at the core of your business, and sometimes we forget what are the financial implications and what are the numbers behind it. But your very transparent and very open presentation has made it all clear for everybody. So I would like to thank you again for your fantastic presentation, and would invite you to join the roundtable discussion a little bit later. I think we will have more questions then. Perhaps now we are going to keep a question from me to you. Did the cost of sourcing PPE, protective equipment, and sanitary items has exceeded your forecast, or was it within the forecast?
You mean through COVID period, or
through the COVID period? Yes.
Yeah, it has.
It has exceeded your initial forecast. And going forward, because COVID is not over yet, I mean, it's going to stay with us for a long time, even though it's going to get milder and milder. Have you built in your pricing equations also this additional cost, this new cost?
The advantages of our system, Roberto, is that we provide for an annual update in costing as an exercise that we share to users. So it doesn't take, an overextended effort to estimate 2, 3, 4 years down the road. It's a 1-year rolling estimate exercise that we update, and as we shared earlier, we then review the actual figures to correct the estimates. So the answer in short is yes. For next year tariff update, we are trying to learn from the past and gross up the estimate. Although obviously we really hope, and I touch wood, we're gonna go through less tiring and less dramatic circumstances.
Thank you. And one last thing that caught my curiosity, and I think everybody else's. You briefly mentioned the proactiveness and the real support you received from the regulator, from ENAC, the Italian Civil Aviation Authority. Would you like to expand on that in a couple of minutes? Because I think that is very important, as it is an example how the industry and regulators come together in this time of crisis.
There will be a lot to say. They have been really proactive and they've made in-depth analysis on the way to provide to allocate to the quality indicators. Our overall regulatory compact, and I'm talking about the entire aviation services perimeter, as an element, as in most cases, of quality, an environment, premium, and penalty. And the issue here is how much weight you give to PRM quality, specific quality indicators in this broader package. And I have to say, given my sensitivity for this particular topic, and having the ADR assistance hat on very often, I was very grateful that in the last review of the ENAC guidelines, more weight to the quality indicators of the PRM area was provided for the final calculation to be implemented in the tariff mechanism. So we all know here at ADR, in addition to, as you said before, and I'm grateful you brought it up, we do have a culture of assistance. We were among the first to start with the dedicated PRM company. But on top of that, now we know there is an economic incentive to do PRM service right. It has a significant weight in the overall package. The overall package weight more or less 1% on the overall tariff. So the economic incentive is there as it should be, in my personal view. And on top of that, I flagged that briefly, but it's very important, ENAC decision last year to allow Italian airport operators to spread the PRM deficits recorded in the COVID period over a longer period of time, to make it possible, especially for operators like us that have dedicated company, to maintain the financial balance and the financial soundness of the affiliate.
Thank you very much, Fabio, and I look forward to seeing you later at the roundtable.